two people fighting over it, and it fell into his hands. That's how he won it. So it's not like he even actually won the match. It fell. He got lucky, basically.
Yeah.
And that was the same Money in the Bank where Rey Mysterio he was murdered.
He got murdered. He got thrown off the roof. I forgot about that.
We never saw him for a while.
You are now listening. You are now listening to the Backseat Wrestler Podcast.
Look at Randy Orton slithering.
Watch out! Hosted by Eric and Elvis.
It's LA Knight's game. Yeah.
Money. Aren't you excited for Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Money in the Bank is going to be good.
Yeah. What, like 2 weeks away or a week and a half?
A week and a half away. Or probably just a week from now, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, it's next week.
This Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this Saturday coming up.
Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Backseat Wrestlers. Of course, we are back better than ever, ready to bring you an episode where we are discussing.
Yes.
There you go. Discussing the top 5 best Money in the Bank winners, and of course the top 5 worst Money in the Bank winners, because there's been some terrible ones.
Yes, and we've seen it in person. So
yeah. But we saw it cash in person. It was one of the worst ones. We'll get to that. Yeah. Of course.
Money in the Bank, one of the top 3 best pay-per-views of the year.
Yeah, but probably one of the most fun.
Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and
you say it's one of the best. I honestly think
5.
Money in the Bank needs to just go back to being on WrestleMania.
No, I love and those were actually like the best matches too.
They were. Yeah.
I mean, I understand making a whole pay-per-view out of it, but
it's unnecessary.
Yeah, you can just bring back No Way Out or something.
I'm pretty sure Triple H hates like the actual pay-per-view Money in the Bank. Like
I heard something about that. I was reading something yesterday about like rumors about they're not liking it no more like that. But I don't know. It's all up to Saudi money.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, of course, Money in the Bank. We did a whole ton of freaking research looking into it because, of course, there was so many Money in the Bank.
And I didn't realize how many terrible ones there's been. I thought it was only a couple.
Well, like, I was even looking at some of the matches. You know what was the worst era? When it was split, like, between rosters, basically? Like, it was, like, the SmackDown and the Raw Money in the Bank.
Oh, that was horrible.
Like, I think, Damien Sandow and I forgot who else won at the same
terrible.
year. But, yeah, it was some terrible ones. Like, Dolph Ziggler and John Cena won at the same year. And it was, like, complete massive difference between, like, who the hell was in each match.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to have. Especially, they definitely can't do that. Especially now they have the women's, too. That'll just be way too much. It's the prestige of the match that won't count the same.
No, hell no. It was terrible. That was a terrible era. Looking back, there was some terrible freaking matches.
The Divas, the woman, the female one, that was like in 2020 when it started.
I think so. It might have been
2019, 2020. So we don't have enough to do top 5 best and worst. But we can say like the best ones were like
I think Io Sky.
I thought was the best one.
Yeah. So yeah,
and Alexa Bliss was good too. But Io Sky, I think when she cashed in as, I believe, SummerSlam on Bianca after Bianca won a triple threat versus Asuka and Charlotte.
That was good.
Remember that she came out and cashed in there and beat her in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alexa Bliss, that was a good one too. I'm pretty sure she cashed in on Charlotte too.
Yeah, damn.
Everybody cashed in on Charlotte.
Because she had the damn title, like
she was basically the John Cena of the freaking women's division because everybody cashed in on John Cena.
Yeah.
So John Cena lost that thing so many times, and he's probably gonna lose this title to the Money in the Bank winner this year.
Yeah. So before we start, honorable mention too, like I think Daniel Bryan was another good one.
Daniel Bryan, yeah, he
cashed in on Big Show.
Cashed in on Big Show. Is that
was people saying no?
Yeah, is that when he lost?
But then he lost
10 seconds.
He lost the title to Sheamus at WrestleMania very fast with a one bro kick. So that's why he's not on.
That's why he's on the list.
Damian Priest was also very recent, but I thought that was really good. Remember, it came out after Drew and cashed in on Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, but
his first world title.
It did not make the list for me either.
No, it didn't make the list as the best, but it was like honorable mention. It was still good.
Yeah, honorable mention for worst. I'm gonna say Jack Swagger. He did win the Money in the Bank, and he did cash in successfully.
Yeah.
But his title reign was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, and that was before the We the People mess with.
Oh my God!
I forgot the dudes.
I know it had obviously Cesaro.
Yeah, but what was the
dude with the mustache?
With the Zeb Coulter.
Yeah, that was his name. Yes. Yo, that dude,
He's some pretty wild stuff.
I was rewatching a whole bunch of Money in the Bank. There was one where he was literally calling everybody taco eaters and border hoppers.
Border hoppers.
And I was like, bro, if
yo.
you bring that gimmick back in 2025,
especially with all the immigration stuff
Oh
going on,
my God. that'd
dude,
be freaking hilarious. It's so bad, but it'd be hilarious.
Yes, it's wild, but it is funny.
Yeah, it is funny. And for those who don't know, we're Hispanic. We can say that. So calm down.
Yes,
Just
it's
saying.
hilarious.
It's
I laugh
freaking
all
funny.
that.
It's hilarious. Of course, yeah. That's my honorable mention for worst by far.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say another honorable mention because before we get to our list, another honorable mention for best. I would say, I want to say Randy Orton, because Randy Orton, he won it, and that of course that's when he had the match. Sorry, he cashed in on Daniel Bryan, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I forgot about that. Triple H at the SummerSlam, Daniel Bryan
with the Authority,
and he cashed in. Yeah,
that's when he joined the Authority and all that. It was cool. It was nice. That's when he rejoined Triple H, got the title. It was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, of course, let's go ahead and get into our list. You want to start off with best or worst? I think best.
Yeah, we'll go. Should we go? So we're gonna do best and then worst and then best, like going down the list 5, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah. So of course, just a couple of key things here. It was impossible to rank this in order because we would never agree on like the order.
So we're gonna give it.
One.
We're gonna say 5 to 1, but it's not. Don't take it as like this is the worst.
This is number one. Yeah.
Or this is better than this one. They were all really good or really bad. So
yeah, we're also gonna rank them by number 5 being the best, and then we're gonna say number 5 worst, and then we're gonna go number 4 best, number 4 worst. So we're gonna do 1 and 1. Just like we're gonna say best, worst, etc. You get it. That freaking simple.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I'll probably put some I don't know, some editing. This show's best, worst. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Anyways, you want to start off? Actually, let's start off with this. So number 5 for one of the best Money in the Bank winners. I think we should start off strong and go with the first annual Money in the Bank winner, Edge.
Yes.
The dude who ruined my childhood with his Money in the Bank cash-ins.
Yes.
The one that made me hate him.
Yes.
With a passion when I was a child because of all this freaking.
And it also led to that. Remember that? What was that thing with Lita?
Oh my God! Yeah,
that was after he won the title when he cashed
the sex celebration. Yeah,
the week after. That was the week after.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was awful. But for some reason, it drew the highest rating, which is.
Goes to show that the audience
WWE
back then was quite a while. So
yeah, the WWE fans are gooners at that point. Yeah, that's really what it shows.
But yeah, the first. So this is obviously a special one because he's the first ever Money in the Bank winner.
He held it 2 times, only winning it.
The briefcase was like all black,
fun.
right? It wasn't like all colorful how it is
No,
now. I hope they let people customize. Like remember how Tiffany Stratton had to customize? I hope everybody gets to customize. By the way, Karrion Kross better win this year.
He's not even in it. They already announced.
Oh yeah, the
qualifying match.
CM Punk.
And he's not in it.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
They're just dropping the ball.
Yeah. But anyways, number 5, we're gonna go with Edge. WrestleMania 21, the first ever Money in the Bank match. He defeated the Wolverine, Chris Benoit. We had Christian, we had Kane, Chris Jericho, and Shelton Benjamin. This match was great.
Shelton Benjamin stole the show a couple times with his highlights, though.
I will say this: Shelton Benjamin is one of the unsung heroes of Money in the Bank. He was in 5 or 6 of them. He was great in every single one.
Yes,
he stole the show in every single one. I remember
he had the blonde hair, and he was just flipping off the ladders and everything.
Yeah, he was IC champ for 3 of them too.
Yeah,
he just never had a match with IC champ at WrestleMania.
It was during the feud with his mama too.
Oh my God, yeah, his mom was there. That was hilarious.
This was 2005, right? Yeah, WrestleMania 21 in 2005.
Great freaking match.
Great WrestleMania too. Was this Hollywood?
I think so.
WrestleMania goes Hollywood.
Yeah, right? WrestleMania goes Hollywood. But yeah, of course, WrestleMania 21. He defeated, of course, we already said that, but he did cash in at the 280 days on John Cena at New Year's Revolution 2006 to become the WWE champion. That's back when Vince was there, and Vince came out.
Was it WWE or was it this World Heavyweight? I thought it was.
No, it was the WWE Championship. Yeah. Of course, he did.
He came out with Lita, right?
Yeah, he came out with Lita.
And he cashed in.
It was nice. He then, of course, lost it back to Cena at Royal Rumble, feuded with Mick Foley because of that, because Mick Foley was a special guest referee.
Oh, yes.
During that match. And that led to WrestleMania 22 match between Edge and freaking Mick Foley.
With that, what was it, Extreme False Count Everywhere or something?
It was like an Extreme Rules match, basically.
But yeah, that match.
The fire freaking table spot.
Yes.
If you guys don't know, that's that
the tacks all over Edge's back. So basically, this is why this made the list, because obviously it was the first one ever, and it also led to that incredible feud with Mick Foley.
Yeah.
When Mick Foley was basically retired, but he came back for that. That was incredible.
Not only that, but also it freaking led to basically the stardom of Edge.
Yeah, that was Edge's stardom as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it led to him being one of the top stars in
one of the
WWE.
top heels. Everybody hated him.
I couldn't stand him as a freaking child. He cast in on John Cena, and then of course he also won a briefcase back in 2007. But he didn't win the freaking Money in the Bank. He beat Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that's one of the worst ones.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Mr. Kennedy's thing in a sec. We'll talk about it actually right after this. And then, of course, cast in to win the World Heavyweight title on Undertaker, which made me hate him even freaking more.
Yes, the Undertaker a lot when he lost the World Heavyweight. That sucked.
Yeah, on an episode of SmackDown. Of course, this led to his, honestly, amazing feuds against, Batista, Undertaker. Yeah. It also led to his alliance with Vicky Guerrero.
Yes. Oh, my God. I hated that, too. But then he fight Undertaker at WrestleMania as well, right?
Yeah, but
that was WrestleMania nice. 23, I believe.
23, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
No, 23 was... I know. The years...
24?
The 20, yeah, it's kind of mixed. I got the years mixed up, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 24.
24, right? And then 25, 26 was Shawn Michaels. Yeah, so it was 24.
It was 24. But yeah, oh my God.
Those feuds,
that's when we became the ultimate opportunist.
Yes.
So that's why we had to put
and
on
obviously
the list.
Rated R Superstar.
Rated R Superstar. That was he called himself the Rated R Superstar after, of course, the Lita.
The Lita thing, exactly.
Because then he got injured and he had to do his little Rated R podcast, the show that they do. And that's when he started calling himself the Rated R Superstar.
But anyways, that's Edge, definitely top 5 best
100%
Money in the Bank winner.
Arguably could be number 1.
Yeah. Again, no particular order, even though we're saying 5. It's just...
Yeah.
Or we could say next. We're not even... Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, of course, number 5.
For the worst.
The worst freaking Money in the Bank winner. Definitely has to go to Mr.
I don't have that much passion. Kennedy!
All right, what the fuck? Honestly, Mr. Kennedy, low-key one of my favorite superstars as a child.
Yes, and he was having a push during this time.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yes, obviously we know what happened later on.
He got
fired. Rumors are he hurt Randy Orton, and that led to him being fired.
Yeah, he got fired.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he became Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson.
TNA.
He did pretty good in TNA, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And there was actually a lot of reports that he kind of wants to come back to WWE too recently.
Isn't he
He's almost 50.
He's in good shape though.
He's almost 50. But
a lot of older wrestlers are keeping in good shape nowadays. So.
Exactly. But yeah, of course, Mr. Kennedy won his Money in the Bank.
And he was having a good push, so this is kind of unfortunate because
yeah,
there's a reason why he lost the Brie, but we'll talk about it.
He won the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 23. Of course, 36 days later. That's freaking fast.
So literally a month later.
Yeah, he lost it to Edge.
Edge begged him basically for a match for the briefcase.
He was teasing him for the match.
Yes,
and then you can't beat me and all that.
Yeah, and then he put up the briefcase, ended up losing to Edge, who was again we hated him.
The ultimate opportunist. So it honestly just led to Mr. Kennedy being a very forgetful winner. Because
I almost forgot until I did the research that he won the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and then I rewatched the match. I was like, holy crap! I remember this.
Yeah, remember he hit I forgot what that move's called. That rolling off the rope Hornswoggle. Because Finley was involved and Hornswoggle got involved. There was a mini ladder in there.
Yeah, the mini ladder was funny.
But so he was because it only lasted a month. But the reports apparently, I guess he got injured, so he had to drop the briefcase because they thought it was a serious injury, and it ended up not even being a serious injury.
Yeah, it ended up.
But that push he never really got that push after, which sucks. So it's not exactly totally his fault, but again, he has to be one of the worst Money in the Bank winners because it did happen. It's very forgettable too.
Again, he's on our list because we forgot that he fucking won it.
Yes, so we literally had to do research
I forgot that he legit won it, and
I've seen that Money in the Bank. It was a great match.
His entrance was fire.
Yes, he had that old school mic come from
I used to pick him all the time in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006.
Just to see the entrance.
Yeah, just to see the entrance. They actually had the freaking mic come down. It was awesome. But yeah, that was number 5. Number 4 best Money in the Bank winner. I think we should definitely talk about possibly my favorite Money in the Bank winner, Rob Van Dam. Yo, Rob Van Dam won WrestleMania 22, defeating Matt Hardy, Bobby Lashley, Ric Flair, Finley, and Shelton Benjamin.
What a stacked Money, and that was the second one ever. Yeah. See, the first couple Money in the Banks when they were doing that at WrestleMania, they were always stacked, and the matches were all great, and they were on the biggest stage of them all, so it just made it even better.
Yo, Matt Hardy hit a freaking hit a suplex on Ric Flair off the ladder.
Ric Flair had to be carried out.
And then he came back.
But he sold it pretty well. He was screaming in pain. By the way, Ric Flair, by that time, he was already late 50s. And he had a great performance in that match.
He did really good in that match.
Yeah, he was getting a push in
definitely one of
the mid 2000s in his old days. He was actually getting a push. He had feuds with Triple H and everything. They were great.
This was Bobby Lashley's first WrestleMania.
Yes.
Finley was a heel back then, so he wasn't getting the pops that he usually did.
Yes.
I still.
That's why the
the
year after when he would have Mr. Kennedy, that's when Hornswoggle got involved. He was actually a face.
Of course, RVD is known for having one of the best cash-ins ever. He pre-announced his cash-in,
which was the first one to ever do that. That's why this is on the list, because the title reign wasn't that long or whatever, but just because of the circumstance. ECW One Night Stand 2006 pre-announced match versus John Cena for the WWE Championship.
The iconic "If Cena wins, we riot" sign.
Riot, yeah. Oh, the crowd was on his ass that night.
They were going ballistic for this. It was great.
Remember, he was throwing his gear into the audience. They were throwing it right back in the ring. He couldn't even throw his gear away. That crowd was wild at the old ECW arena too.
It was a freaking banger of a match.
Philly,
freaking what was it?
That
a bunch of people got involved too.
Yes, that match
was insane.
Yes,
Paul Heyman got involved at one point. Oh my god. Yeah, but RVD picked up the win. Paul Heyman was the one that freaking counted the pin too.
Yes, RVD, his first ever WWE championship.
He was undisputed too because he was also ECW champion for like over 700 days.
Exactly. So he was just the atmosphere, like the actual title reign. Okay, it didn't last too long.
It was his fault.
Yeah.
So basically, unfortunately, the reason why it's like the reason it'll probably be like number 5 on the list is because he lost it after only 22 days because he got arrested for drug-related charges, which led to him being suspended by WWE.
Well, we had a number 4, but again, we're not even in particular order, and this is just our personal preference. Just it's because we're talking about winners and then the cash-in. That all gets involved.
The match was great.
The match, ECW One Night Stand, the atmosphere, this had to be on the list because this was a Money in the Bank cash-in. Still,
it was great.
It was just a pre-announced match. It was the first one to ever do it like that, so that's another reason why it makes the list.
Yeah, and RVD was so over during that time.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Especially they were damn in ECW territory. So.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, of course, he ended up losing it to Edge in a triple threat match that involved not only Edge but also John Cena.
Yes.
Of course, Edge went on to have a great title run going back and forth for Cena as well.
He always had great title runs. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, his title runs were always fun to watch. But it just sucks because RVD, I think around the same time, he also relinquished his ECW champion, and he never lost it. He held that title for over 700 days.
Yes, he was the best of ECW. He was the
best ECW champion of all time. Honestly, one of the best cash-ins ever, just because it was pre-announced in the freaking.
And then the actual Money in the Bank match he was involved in, another great
match.
Like I tell you, all the early Money in the Bank matches were incredible.
Yeah, no, by far, 100%.
This was the second one ever, and it delivered again. Like it was just.
Yeah, it was great. All right, number 4 worst Money in the Bank winner definitely has to go to, unfortunately, very unfortunately, Damien Sandow.
Yes,
Damien Sandow was definitely one of the worst ones. Oh my god, it sucks too because like the potential that dude had when he was Damien Mizdow,
when he was cosplaying everybody.
Oh my god,
especially the Miz, obviously that was the main one. But before that thing happened, remember he was coming out as Shawn Michaels and everybody.
Yeah. So of course he did win the 2013 Money in the Bank. Of course he did cost his what was his tag team partner Cody Rhodes, which is actually funny to say because remember there were it was like something Rhodes. I forgot their freaking name. But yeah, he cost his tag team partner the briefcase, ended up winning it himself, which of course broke up that tag team. And then he had a feud with Cody Rhodes during that entire era, and he lost every single match while he was Money in the Bank winner.
Yeah, so very forgettable feud. No push whatsoever after winning Money in the Bank.
He got a negative push.
Yes,
it was bad.
It went down.
It was so bad.
He was losing to Cody Rhodes, who, let's be honest, at the time was a mid-carder.
Well, not only that, he also lost to Santino Marella. He lost to Dolph Ziggler. He lost to.
So he was basically a jobber.
A jobber.
It was a jobber with a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah.
So that already just puts him as one of the worst. But then let's talk about the cash-in.
Oh my god, the cash-in. So the cash-in is definitely why he's definitely one of the worst. He was the second person ever to, of course, unsuccessfully cash in. First ever being John Cena. But yeah, basically he goes into the ring, tries to cash in on John Cena because John Cena had an injured arm,
and he attacked him, and then he still failed.
Lost by a roll.
He had a match. Yeah, exactly.
He lost to a one-armed John Cena,
and then that's it. No more Damien. We didn't really hear from nothing about that. No feud.
It was terrible. It was god awful. It was a waste of a freaking briefcase.
Complete waste.
Yeah, so John Cena, of course, had an injured arm, quote unquote, because of his match. I think it was at Hell in the Cell, if I'm not mistaken, against Santino Marella, which of course he did win because he still had the freaking title. Not Santino Marella. What am I saying? Alberto Del Rio. My mistake. Screw you, Alberto Del Rio. You should be on the list for worst too. You suck.
Yeah, I mean, and it actually looks like he's with AAA, so he might even
I
come
don't know.
back.
We'll see. But anyways, of course, yeah. Damien Sandow attempted a freaking cash in on John Cena, ended up losing, and then didn't do anything afterwards. So
a couple years later, he did like the Damien Mizdow thing, but not really a push. That was still kind of gimmicky. Even though fans got up with it, it was still gimmicky. It wasn't
still gimmicky. And
never a push. So he was just a jobber
his entire career.
He was a jobber as the Money in the Bank winner. Lost his opportunity, and then just never really.
It was bad. It was so freaking bad.
Nothing came out of it. Nothing.
It was terrible. Like this dude won it as a jobber, lost it as a jobber.
It's basically like terrible. They had no plan that year.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they were doing.
Let's just drop it. That's it. It was like
it was terrible.
Complete waste of the actual Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Yeah, and that's why Money in the Bank needs to just be on WrestleMania. Because if you have no freaking plans for it, the pay-per-view is gonna be whack. The cash-in's gonna be whack. It's gonna be freaking terrible. If you do it at WrestleMania, you have a whole freaking year to plan it out. They win the freaking title. You already have a new champion. They don't need to cash in right there and then. They can freaking wait forever. It doesn't have to be that fucking long.
You got a whole year to cash in. It doesn't have to be that
short. I mean, yeah, it's terrible. It was bad.
Like when Brock Lesnar found out he had a whole year to cash in, and he slapped Paul Heyman.
Yeah, but he was the second person to lose it. John Cena being, of course, the first. I would say John Cena would be on the list for worst as well because he did lose it. However, it did lead to a couple of good feuds. That's why
these other ones are.
This one did not lead to anything at all. But of course, number 3 for one of the best Money in the Bank winners.
I'll say probably Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler, yeah. Dolph Ziggler had the best pop for a cash-in.
Yes.
100%. Dolph Ziggler is 100% on that.
That was when he was rolling around with Big E and AJ Lee.
Yeah, AJ Lee. Oh my God, when she was like hopping around the whole locker room. Yeah. That was hilarious. But yeah, of course, Dolph Ziggler, Money in the Bank 2012 winner.
So the Money in the Bank before Damien Sandow.
Yeah, before Damien Sandow. Defeating Christian, Cody Rhodes, Damien Sandow, Santino Marella, Sin Cara, Tenzai, and Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, so it wasn't completely stacked, but it was still actually a great match.
Yeah.
Didn't have the big names, but
it had terrible names.
Yeah, let's be honest.
The only other person who probably would have won it at that time would probably be Christian, even though he wasn't even pushed during that time.
Yes, but Christian was good.
And this was also during the era where it was split up because that was the same year John Cena won.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that
one of them was always.
So this is a kind of controversial best winner, but it's because of the actual cash in.
Yeah,
and we were happy for Dolph getting that push finally.
It was awesome. Yeah,
coming from the
he held the briefcase for over 250 days. I think it was like 267 if I'm not mistaken. So he was, I think, the second longest one to hold it. First being, of course, Edge. And then, of course, he had one of the loudest pops ever when he finally cashed in on Alberto Del Rio on an episode of Raw.
Raw after WrestleMania 29, actually.
Yeah, it was nice. So he cashed in, became the World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, his title reign was okay. And honestly, it was bad. He got injured in the middle of it, so he was out for a whole month. And then when he came back, he lost it to Alberto Del Rio after 69 days. So the title reign itself,
not a great title reign, but
not good.
This is just a personal thing. We were all happy for Dolph at the time because he wasn't getting no push.
Exactly.
That he wins that Money in the Bank, which was surprisingly a good match with the names involved. And then the pop. If you watch that pop Raw at the WrestleMania 29,
one of the loudest pops. It was freaking
Big
great.
E and AJ Lee celebrating with him. It was a great
Not
Money
only
in the
that,
Bank cash in.
If you think it did lead to like him becoming like the Survivor Series savior, I think a couple years later.
That was like 5 years later, but
I don't think it was 5 years. I think it was only like
3 years later.
It was like 2-3 years later at max. It was.
That was like 3 years later. You're right.
Yeah, it was nice.
Because that was 2016. This was 2013. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this led to him being that guy that's like puts on the best match, the showstopper.
Showstopper, yeah, basically.
He would put on the best matches, win or lose.
Yeah, and he lost a lot, unfortunately. Yes,
but this was the first big thing that he did.
It was great.
Came from the Spirit Squad all the way to winning Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, honestly.
And then he he successfully cashed in, and one of the best cash-ins.
His cash-in holds a special place in my heart, 100%.
And he beat Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah, and he beat Alberto Del Rio. Anybody who beats Alberto Del Rio, you have a special place in my heart. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, of course, shout out Dolph Ziggler having one of the best freaking Money in the Bank cash-ins by far.
Nick Nemeth, aka
Nick Nemeth now, and he's actually doing fantastic things on the indie scene. So, I hope he ends up going back to WWE.
In TNA,
he's in TNA, yeah.
So he can make an appearance definitely.
He could.
Royal Rumble.
That'd be nice.
Royal Rumble.
That'd be
Where
nice.
Is it?
It's in Saudi. Right? It's in Saudi, yeah. It's in Saudi.
You know the Saudis love the older names.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling you're gonna see like Undertaker or Goldberg or something. It's gonna be so annoying.
Yeah, Goldberg did announce he's gonna have his freaking.
He's gonna have he did
final match.
He did the Ariel Helwani podcast. He's definitely having that one last match.
Yeah,
and it might be against Gunther, I guess, because they still have that unfinished thing, unless they forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Which I would love to see Gunther smash him. So to be honest, so it's all right.
All right, so I think this is number 2, right? Oh no, number 3. Number 3 worst Money in the Bank winner. I think he's probably gonna have to go to Braun Strowman. Unfortunately. Braun Strowman has been released by WWE again. It's probably like his 3rd time getting released.
He always finds his way back. But...
Yeah. So first of all, he dominated 1 to 2018 Money in the Bank match, but of course he did fail to cash in. He did, of course, announce ahead of time,
which was like showed he wasn't scared or not, and it was against Roman Reigns, who at that time was not desired as champion.
No,
you remember
that was when he was blue-eyed. The big dog champion.
Big dog, yeah.
2018. So it was a Hell in a Cell, ended in a no contest.
The Hell in a Cell match. The actual match was not good. And then Brock Lesnar comes, gets involved, and it becomes a no contest. So nobody even won. So it was still a failed cash.
And literally nothing ever came out of it.
Roman Reigns kept the title, basically.
Yeah, and nothing ever came out of it.
They didn't. I think they had a triple threat, but after
that, nothing really came out of it. It was bad.
Braun Strowman didn't win.
No, and then that was a literal downfall of Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and that was another waste of the Money in the Bank briefcase.
And another waste of a potential big talent.
Yes.
The big men in WWE get disrespected.
It's just because, so this is another thing. He won. He didn't. It was a failed cash in, and the match, like, it didn't lead to anything.
It was also lackluster.
And it was a lackluster match at Hell in a Cell. For a Hell in a Cell match, it was terrible. It was the red cell, too. It was nobody liked. God,
the red cell was freaking awful.
Brock Lesnar came in and ripped the doors off, but he got the biggest cheer. And people,
Lesnar got the nobody
wanted Roman as champion anymore, and then Braun Strowman.
I didn't really want him as champion either.
Yeah, well, he's even though he's like a big guy, he moves pretty good for his size, but he's not
like that charismatic.
He's not a champion material. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
World champion material. He can be Mick, but
yeah, no, I agree. I 100% agree.
So it led to a lackluster match at Hell in a Cell, which was like the main event, I think. So it was like
I thought it was stupid. I felt like he'd like
the red cell, just the whole vibe about it, and then it led to nothing. It was a no contest, and then led to a triple threat that was kind of boring, and then after that, nothing.
Well, not only that, but the whole thing that he was trying to sell when he won Money in the Bank is like, I'm not scared. I'm going to cash this in. I'm going to cash it in ahead of time. I challenge you to a match at Hell in a Cell because I'm not scared to face you like when you're at your best. And then he still lost. Yeah. It was like the
no contest because Brock Lesnar got involved and beat them all up. But yeah,
ridiculous.
It led to a triple threat, which led to I don't even remember who won. Was it Roman or it was Roman or Brock? One of them.
I think it was Roman. I think I do remember Braun Strowman getting fucking F5 through a table.
Yes, that's what I remember.
I remember that vividly.
But the actual match lackluster. So lackluster main event at Hell in a Cell, and then whenever they had the triple threat, I forgot which pay per view it was. I should have done more research. My bad. But it was lackluster as well.
It was so lackluster. It was
forgettable. So failed cash in, very lackluster matches, and then no feud after that. So
yeah,
that's why this is on the list.
Yeah, 100%. All right, and now we can go over to
best and worst.
Top 2 best and worst. Of course, number 2 best Money in the Bank winner. I probably gonna have to say CM Punk.
Yeah, and this is a two-time
Money in the Bank winner, back-to-back Money in the Bank winner, WrestleMania 24 and 25.
Yes, which were great WrestleManias.
Oh my God.
We watched it live.
Yeah, they were freaking great. But yeah, WrestleMania 24, he defeated Mr. Kennedy, Sheldon Benjamin, Chris Jericho, Carlito, John Morrison, and MVP.
Oh my God, this was another great Money in the Bank match.
It was a great one. Yeah, this obviously this was the same match that, of course, Matt Hardy returned after his knee injury, and cost MVP the freaking the match as well.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, and it started that feud because MVP was the U.S. champion at the time. That was a great feud. And then, of course, I remember he had a twist of fate on MVP off the top of the ladder, which caused CM Punk to go up, and then but I think he put
this was CM Punk's first big thing in WWE too.
Yeah,
coming from ECW.
Yeah, of course.
Long hair CM Punk.
CM Punk put Chris Jericho. That was when he put Chris Jericho, who was like stuck in the freaking ladder and caught it. Yeah, and he won. That was a great freaking thing. Of course, he ended up cashing in that Money in the Bank on Edge
and winning the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, and he won the World Heavyweight Championship. But it was funny. It was Edge after he defeated Batista. I think it was at No Way Out. No, it was Night of Champions. It was Night of Champions. And then of course Batista came out. The Raw after beat the crap out of freaking Edge because of course Edge had had like the doppelgangers with him.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, what was it? Was Kurt Hawkins and the other freaking dude? I remember.
Yeah, what was it? The Edgeheads?
Yeah, the Edgeheads. Yeah, the Edgeheads. That's what it was.
Kurt Hawkins and I forget.
The next he had the Edgeheads, and then of course the Edgeheads cost Batista the freaking match. Yeah. And then Batista came out the night after, beat the crap out of Edge, and then that's when CM Punk came out and of course cashed in.
Yeah, that led to Batista and Edge feud, but
yeah,
that's not even the one we're talking about.
No, but but that was still cool though because
that was a great one.
It was a great one. He lost it after only 69 days to Chris Jericho. However, he had great title matches against like JBL, Batista, and a bunch of other freaking people.
However, for number 2 best Money in the Bank winner, I think the second one is more memorable.
The WrestleMania 25.
WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, he defeated Shelton Benjamin, Finlay, Kofi Kingston, MVP, Mark Henry, Christian, and Kane.
This was another
that was another.
And when you have big guys in the match, it's usually not good, but they were great in this match. I remember Mark Henry hitting the World Strongest Slam on Kofi onto the ladders.
Yeah, when he
Kane choke slamming everybody. This one was another great one, but this one was more memorable, I think, just because of what it led to.
25, a lot of people wanted Christian to win.
Yes,
I rewatched it, and the freaking crowd went wild for when Christian was trying to win. But of course, this was the one.
The same night as that great Shawn Michaels and Undertaker match.
One of the best WrestleMania match of all time.
But
this led to one of the reasons why I started hating CM Punk. I love him now, but at the time when I was a kid, I hated him.
So he won the Money in the Bank WrestleMania 25, and then he goes on. I think it was ahead of time too.
No, so he cashed in at Jeff Hardy at Elimination Chamber 2009.
Oh yes, and then he led to that Extreme Rules match 2009.
Yeah,
that incredible match versus Jeff Hardy, which we all loved Jeff Hardy at the end, but he lost his world title to him, and then he lost the feud against.
It was nice though, because they traded the belt a few times.
So
they traded the belt a few times. Eventually, of course, CM Punk lost it to the Undertaker.
Yes,
and then that started his feud.
That was
the
a great
Undertaker,
feud too.
They traded the belt a couple times.
That was a great feud.
Great feud. And then it led to Straight Edge Society.
This led to heel Punk.
Yeah,
and then this led to the Straight Edge Society, which eventually led to the Nexus.
Yeah, the new Nexus.
The new Nexus. Yeah. So all this led to one of the best versions of Punk. This is why this is on this list.
It did. It was one of the best versions.
Why it's more memorable. He had the great feuds again. Feud with Jeff Hardy. Undertaker feud was awesome. I remember that time when he was holding the title. Undertaker appeared from like under him. When the light went
grabbed him. Yeah,
yes.
He was like shook. Yeah, I remember
this
that.
had so many memorable moments, and then obviously the heel turn, the Straight Edge Society.
Yeah, he had a great feud with Rey Mysterio during Straight Edge Society.
Yes. He had the mask on.
He had the mask on because he shaved his head.
Yep.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And then the new Nexus. So this led to so much stuff that it was way more memorable than the first one. Yeah. And it was a longer title reign.
It did suck. The straight. I found I obviously I don't remember how it ended like watching it live, but I when I did my research on it a little bit more, I didn't know the Straight Edge Society. The only reason why it ended was because Serena got released and then Luke Gallows got injured, so that he had to do something else. Yeah. Unfortunately, but it sucks.
He was getting so much heat there.
Now Serena Deeb is doing well. She's not really that much vocal on AEW TV, but she was doing great things on AEW TV at one point.
Yeah, a few years, like a year ago.
Yeah, like a year or two ago. But this led to the best version of CM Punk, the heel CM Punk.
Arguably the best version, because again, remember a few years later, 2013, Punk was Cena. That was another.
That's
probably
the best
version.
That's his best.
So this is one of the best versions of Punk. Again, Punk has so many early ECW Punk was great.
Yeah.
Indies Punk, and then
Ring of Honor Punk was
Ring of
fire.
Honor Punk,
oh my
obviously.
God.
Yes.
And then it was great.
Punk even in AEW now. So.
Yeah, Punk AEW was great too. I don't care what anybody says. Like people always say, like
the
AEW dropped the ball.
Minus the backstage stuff, the actual matches he had and stuff were great.
No, I'm saying people say that AEW dropped the ball. No, he had fantastic matches. He had one of my favorite matches of all time against freaking MJF.
Was it not wasn't one of them the dog collar match?
That match
was incredible.
One of my favorite matches.
And he was wearing the old school Ring of Honor attire.
He came out to his old theme. Oh my God, it was so good.
Incredible. So yeah,
so good.
It was a lot better than people think just because of the backstage stuff. But anyways, that second Money in the Bank win and what it eventually led to had to make this list as 100%. Number 2. In our opinion, best of all time.
In our opinion, yeah. Of course.
Well, no particular order again.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I honestly, I would say if we were to do it in particular order, Punk would probably be number 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah, 2 or
2 or 3 because Edge.
Yeah, because of Edge.
And you guys will find out number 1 soon, but again, we got to go to number 2 worst.
Yeah, number 2 worst, which arguably could be number 1. But again, it's no particular order. Otis. Otis was so bad.
Otis is probably everybody's number 1, let's be honest. But this is our number 2. You'll find out why. But
He was bad.
First of all,
he was so bad.
This was the 2020 Money in the Bank COVID era at the WWE headquarters in Connecticut. That was already forgettable.
It was bad.
They had it was like a comedic.
I think
they left from the first floor to the top of the roof.
Yeah, AJ Styles tried to grab the briefcase. It fell into Otis's hands, and then
there was two people fighting over it, and it fell into his hands. That's how he won it. So it's not like he even actually won the match. It fell. He got lucky, basically.
Yeah,
and that was the same Money in the Bank where Rey Mysterio he was murdered.
He got murdered. He got thrown off the roof. I forgot about that.
We never saw him for a while.
Yo, he got murdered. I remember that.
This was odd, but it was kind of entertaining. This Money in the Bank because it was odd. Remember, they were going throughout the whole. It was weird again, COVID, so it was kind of entertaining. But again, he barely won it. It got lucky. It just literally fell into his hands. And then the actual Money in the Bank, like his run with the briefcase,
he used it as a lunchbox.
As a lunchbox,
it was a joke.
He was still part of Heavy Machinery. He wasn't even a push guy. He wasn't. It made no sense. I think
at that point,
and he was with Randy Rose.
So Heavy Machinery already broke up.
Okay, but he was with Randy Rose, chilling with her.
Yeah. So Heavy Machinery broke up because they got split up into two different things. And then, of course, he had a match against The Miz for the briefcase.
Yeah, The Miz challenged him for the briefcase at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. And then Tucker cost him the freaking match. And then it led to nothing.
That's it. That was the end of the Money in the Bank briefcase.
And there was no feud. Otis didn't feud with Tucker.
I mean, The Miz had it. The Miz eventually won, yeah. But Miz, again, then the Miz title reign was very short because the Almighty came and defeated him.
Yeah, it was bad.
So that was good.
That was so freaking bad. Otis freaking won it. Used as a lunchbox,
and then lost it.
Lost it
very quickly, and that's it. And nothing happened after that. Otis is was a jobber, still a jobber now. That's it.
I'm just mad that it didn't lead to a freaking feud with Tucker. Like, why the hell would that not lead to a feud? It didn't do anything.
Even one match, it could have at least.
It was so freaking terrible. And then I think Tucker got released not too long after.
Yeah, and Otis just stood a jobber, and to this day, that's it. That's all that happened.
Basically a jobber, yeah.
He got lucky with the Money in the Bank briefcase, used it in the lunchbox, lost it, and that's it. That's all the Money in the Bank was for 2020, which was absolutely horrific.
That's the thing. Otis is super entertaining,
and he's still a fan favorite. A lot of people like him.
I like Otis.
Yeah, with the Alpha Babes now.
Yeah, Alpha Babes. Yeah, I like Otis. I think he's great. I think he
just doesn't get a push or nothing. And they don't do nothing with him.
Well, not only that, but it's just like he's not championship material. And the Money in the Bank thing, I think
that's only strictly.
Maybe if they treated it differently, but they just treated it like a joke. Yes. Use it as a lunchbox. Are you kidding me, bro?
Money in the Bank is for a title match.
It was bad.
So that's supposed to be for a person who's championship material.
It was stupid.
And most of the worst ones on the tug world are people who are clearly not championship
material. Well, not
even
just championship material. Back in the olden days, it was to basically elevate somebody to the main event.
Yes. Now and this was a guy that was no push.
Yeah,
it was just a random. Otis was literally just a random in the match.
Yeah. Well,
he was probably the least favorite.
The thing
to win.
Is, like, more recently, they're kind of just using it as either a joke or they're using it on already well-established guys, which is why none of like the new ones are actually on our list. If you think about it,
again, Karrion Kross doesn't even look like he's in the qualifying thing.
He's not in the qualifying, which is stupid as hell.
Which the only thing I can think of they can do is maybe he cost somebody to win the thing or something. But again, they keep doing this thing where every time he's talking to somebody, they turn like hero or something. So
yeah, I don't know. It's dumb.
I don't know. He comes really on TV for 20 seconds and gets the biggest pop of the night.
All right, the number one
best
Money in the Bank cash in, and again, it's no particular order, but in our opinion, this is definitely number one. That's why we listed for last. But all the other ones not in order. But yeah, of course, number one best Money in the Bank winner, Seth freaking Rollins.
Yes,
Seth freaking Rollins is definitely, first of all, they have a name for his cash in. It's literally called the heist of the century.
Yes,
like that's how freaking amazing his cash in was. First of all, Money in the Bank 2014, Seth Rollins defeated Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, RVD, Kofi Kingston, and Dean Ambrose. This was also when Corporate Kane, before he actually got in suit and stuff, he came out and helped Seth Rollins. He ended up chokeslamming the living hell out of freaking Dean Ambrose.
Yeah,
and then hitting a tombstone power driver on him, and then basically handing the briefcase over to Seth Rollins. He helped Seth Rollins get up the freaking the ladder and everything.
Official formation of the Authority.
Yeah, so like I remember,
almost.
I think it was sort of, because I think I remember like the past couple weeks before that, like Kane was involved, sort of helping them, but this was like basically solidifying Kane becoming
part of the
Corporate
Authority.
Kane.
Yeah, Corporate Kane.
It was bad. I remember Corporate Kane sucked. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean,
the rest of the
Authority stuff was great. They made
yeah.
I did the best he could, I guess.
I hated Corporate Kane. He used to come down in fucking slacks to go fight.
Yes.
So stupid.
I remember once. Well, I didn't remember. This was later on. Seth Rollins attacked Cobra Kane bad. Then Kane came back in the ambulance with the mask and everything.
Yeah.
And beat him up.
But of course, yeah, Seth Rollins ended up picking up the win. He ended up getting the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was freaking fantastic. And then he went on to have honestly, amazing feud. One of the best feuds in WWE against Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose stole the briefcase from him for a little bit.
That was hilarious.
And he had it back. He opened it. Slime.
Yeah, Slime. Yeah, there was like a whole storyline where he stole it. He got it back. He ended up freaking, I think he had a curb stomp onto cinder blocks on Dean Ambrose, which basically...
He did it with Roman too.
Yeah, he did it with Roman too, so it got them both out.
Again, we didn't even talk about this is 2014. This was literally right after he turned on the Shield.
Yeah.
This was literally, they turned on the Shield, and then this he did the Money in the Bank thing and got the huge push.
Yeah. Massive push.
Worked 100%.
Honestly, this honestly led to Seth Rollins being one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Yes.
This
and
entire...
he's one of the best. And look at right now.
That entire era was great.
And look at right now. He's top of the game right now.
Still
in WWE
top of his game, yeah. But of course, he ended up cashing in the heist of the century at WrestleMania 31.
Main event at WrestleMania 31, which was very undesirable main event, let's be honest.
Yeah, nobody wanted that main event.
Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. It was like a street fight or something.
Yeah. It was terrible.
They were beating each other's ass.
Well, it wasn't terrible. The build-up to it was terrible. Nobody wanted that main event.
And nobody wanted them as champion either.
Exactly. Nobody wanted either of them as champion at that point.
But the match was okay. They were both very beat up at the time. They were both down, hurt, kicking each other's ass at the time. And then out of nowhere, while they're both laying down, Seth Rollins' music hits, and he's just sprinting to the ring.
That was insane.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Sprinting to the ring with his with the briefcase, cashes in.
And picked up the win.
He kicks Roman out, curb stomps Brock twice. When he goes for a third one, Brock's about to F5 him. Roman spears Brock. Roman gets curb stomp again, and he gets pinned.
Yeah, that was great. And he just runs away with the title.
He runs away with the title, and at least that great shot of him holding the title with the fireworks in the background.
It was insane.
And that led to everything. That led to Authority.
Literally everything.
Authority, Seth Rollins.
It was great. He went on to have a 219-day title reign. That, of course, he faced people like Sting, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, John Cena, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar came back against him. Remember when they did that thing where Paperboy told him you're under pressure now, and that's when Brock came back from suspension.
Yeah,
because he got suspended the night after this. Remember?
Yeah, he went ballistic.
He went ballistic, attacked the commentators, everybody.
Yeah,
he was suspended for a while. But yeah, he also during the time as his title reign became United States champion.
He beat John Cena. He held it for like 26 days or something. Yeah,
like that. but he was still double champ at one point, and
it was nice.
That was during John Cena's great U.S. title run.
It was great.
When he was doing the weekly challenge.
The weekly challenges, yeah. He ended up losing it back to John Cena though.
Yes.
Unfortunately, his title reign only ended due to injury.
Yes.
He ended up blowing out his knee
in a match in a random house show.
Yeah. But then of course when he did come back, he returned as a face. Ended up defeating.
He returned and he out of nowhere and hit a pedigree on Roman Reigns. Remember?
Yeah, and it led to a title match at Money in the Bank where he defeated Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship, and then he lost it few minutes later, ironically, to the Money in the Bank 2016 winner Dean Ambrose.
Yes,
that was insane, and it was like one of the most iconic moments in WWE history because all three members of the Shield held the title on the same night.
Yes, but
that was great.
This led the 2014 Money, obviously him turning on the Shield, and then the 2014 Money in the Bank winner and all this that led to Seth Rollins' stardom becoming a main eventer.
Oh my God!
And still to this day, as now one of the best main eventers in WWE, holding the company down.
Yeah,
this led to all that.
Led to literally one of the best wrestlers in history.
Now, another group, Paul Heyman by his side, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to add anybody else? That'd be nice.
I don't know, but I remember at first we were talking about don't strip the personality, but I kind of like the way they looked with the suits chilling.
Oh, my God.
And the way Paul Heyman was hyping up Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like it now because Paul Heyman could talk.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yes.
But anyways.
That was the best Money in the Bank cash in though. Just rewatch it. Go to WrestleMania 31, watch the main event, how lackluster the crowd was not in it, and how loud they got out of nowhere.
Yeah. Not only that, but you also need to watch the 2016 Money in the Bank match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins just to see all three of them hold the title all at once. You have to see Seth Rollins' face when Dean Ambrose music hits and he shook, and then Dean Ambrose wins the title. Oh my God, it was great. I don't know. I just love that. It was such an iconic moment.
Yeah, didn't he lose the title that year, or was it because 2016?
What?
Didn't Triple H win that title and Royal Rumble? Remember 2016, the WWE Championship?
At some point, yeah, I remember that.
It was a Royal Rumble.
That was terrible. That Royal Rumble was terrible.
That led to that WrestleMania 32 match with Roman and Triple
H, which was also terrible.
And then that horrible Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose match.
Yeah, that was also terrible.
Yes,
so, WrestleMania 32.
Unfortunately, that was terrible. But this cash in led to so many great things, especially with Seth Rollins, into the rise of Seth Rollins. So,
yeah.
Number one, and it was at WrestleMania. It was like the first one to do that. They're in the main event of WrestleMania, so that was easily number one.
Easily, yeah.
All right, now number one worst.
Number one worst.
This is going to be controversial for the worst one, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah. Well, remember, it's not in order, but we just wanted to save this one for last.
Personal experience.
Yeah. So, of course, Baron Corbin definitely has to be the worst. Unfortunately, because the Lone Wolf character was honestly a great character.
It was a good character. It was his best character.
Yeah, because his other freaking characters were terrible and stupid.
Happy Corbin and then Sad Corbin.
Sad Corbin. Was it Broke Corbin?
After basically? All this, actually, what we're going to talk about, that led to all the BS characters and his eventual firing. But
yeah, but of course, he ended up winning the 2017 Money in the Bank.
Again, this was during SmackDown Live, which was like the worst era of SmackDown. It was terrible.
Jinder Mahal was champion.
Jinder Mahal beat Randy Orton.
Jinder Mahal, the worst WWE champion of all time.
And he beat Randy Orton for it. Yeah. And then
it was just a moment of silence.
So yeah, he won the 2017 Men in Money in the Bank, which was already a forgettable match. It wasn't even that good, the actual Money in the Bank pay-per-view that year. And again, WWE during that time, I kind of was on and off watching. It was just SmackDown Live was terrible. Bad. It was horrible. He held it for 58 days, the briefcase.
Yeah.
During John Cena versus Jinder Mahal on a random SmackDown right here in Providence, Rhode Island.
That's why we went.
We were in attendance. He comes in to cash in on Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
The bell rings. Jinder Mahal was down. He punches John Cena, and then he gets rollover pinned by Jinder Mahal.
It was freaking. It was so annoying because first of all, that SmackDown was probably one of the worst SmackDowns I've ever been to.
No, but I already said like that whole era of SmackDown was terrible. SmackDown Live, I hated the logo. I hated everything about it.
I feel like I don't know if I still have it because it's from so long ago, but I feel like I have a video of his attempted cash in on my phone.
It's probably deep
down
in the archives.
I have to look all the way back. Yeah, deep in the freaking archives. I'm not sure.
That was horrible.
Very bad.
We were there, so this is number 100%.
Yeah.
First of all, he only had it for 58 days, and it was in August too.
Well, not only that, but like you have to think about it like this. First of all, it was a terrible Money in the Bank, terrible cash in,
terrible era already,
terrible era with one of the worst champions in WWE history, and then it also led to the complete downfall of Baron Corbin.
And we were there, so it's just that's why he's number one for us. But yeah. But after that, Baron Corbin had that sad Corbin, happy Corbin gimmick, blah blah, shaved his head. Nothing, and then he was gone.
Yeah, he was gone.
I mean, went to NXT for a little bit, got a little back.
He got a little bit of success.
Got his mojo back, and then he was gone again. That's it. So he's gone from WWE.
Yeah, he was part of a really fun tag team. With Braun
he's doing
Breaker.
good in the indies. I heard he had an interview with Ariel Helwani. I forgot his name now, but he's doing a lot of indie stuff.
Yeah,
and he's also looking into maybe going to MMA and stuff. So he's doing a lot of stuff.
He's doing a lot of cool stuff.
But anyways.
Definitely.
Yeah, this was the August 15th on SmackDown Live, August 15th edition.
We
were there here in Providence.
It was awful. I was so mad because everybody was so pumped. I remember that was probably the loudest wrestling show I've been to.
At least you got to see
when
John
he was
Cena
attempting
wrestle.
To cash in.
Yes, and then
I've seen John Cena wrestle a couple times.
Yeah, we saw him versus Edge title match years ago, like 2008
in Boston. Yeah,
that Raw had like legends were on that. It was like Legends night. Legends were there.
Pretty sure Roddy Piper was there.
Triple H returned. Roddy Piper was on that thing doing a Piper's Pit because it was like Legends thing.
It was great, yeah.
A bunch of stuff happened in that Raw. That was great. But yeah, anyways, this SmackDown was terrible. The era was terrible. Jinder Mahal retained with the modern day Maharaja with the Singh brothers came out to celebrate with him. It was
oh my god. It was so stupid.
Oh my god. It was terrible. Awful. This era was so horrible. I was barely even watching. I'm not lying. I was watching on and off, and then we were like, "Oh, they're coming to Providence. Let's go." And it wasn't even a good night.
If you watch wrestling during that era, you're a real one.
And even like, remember, SmackDown was only 2 hours, and then they had 205 Live, which was boring as hell too. So it was just, oh my god, it was so horrible.
Oh my god, I remember 205 Live when we went to TJP.
Was but we left. What? We didn't even watch 205 Live.
Was that bad?
It was just so boring. Let's go.
Yeah,
we were already pissed at the cash-in. We didn't even stay.
Cash-in was bad.
205 Live started, and it was this is so boring.
I remember being in that crowd too. Everybody was pissed.
Yeah,
everyone was pissed off. Oh my god.
John Cena was the only one smiling.
Yeah,
he was like, yeah, he didn't. He because he got punched by Baron Corbin, and then he was like, yeah, he failed. He was smiling.
All right. But yeah, that was our list of the best and worst Money in the Bank winners.
Yes, we can't wait for Money in the Bank in a week. I believe it's in a week.
Yeah, no, I believe it's in a freaking week. But of course,
Money in the Bank Saturday, WrestleMania and UFC and WWE's on. I'm watching both. Can't wait.
So just to, of course, reiterate, the top 5 best Money in the Bank winners, in our opinion, and of course, this is not even like in order. We got Edge, Rob Van Dam, Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. The 5 worst Money in the Bank winners definitely has to go to, again, in no particular order, Otis, Damian Sandow, Mr. Kennedy, Baron Corbin, and Braun Strowman. Yes. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments, of course, of what you think is the best and the worst Money in the Bank winners.
Yes.
Of course, there's going to be a lot of different opinions. Anybody that we missed. I know we did a couple of honorable mentions as well. But yeah, of course.
The women's one, there wasn't enough to do a top 5. I remember it's only been like 5 or 6. But again, we said Io Sky was probably the best one.
Yeah, and I loved Alexa Bliss's one too.
Yes.
That was great. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe as always. We'll be back. Yeah, see you guys. Love you guys so much. Peace.